presidential usage. Exactly what I just put in. COLMPRESIDENTIALUSAGE@mail.com. Alrighty. Hey everyone. Okay. Hi everyone. Charles Richard Zarilia. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a new presidential candidate. Truth be told, I've actually been I have reached out to many different people. It's interesting, and the one thing I'd like to make sure is we protect our electronic communications because I've had some things done, and I really don't want to go too deep into it now. But it's interesting how I've contacted over 1,800 billionaires. I have communicated with um, thousands of people, literally, and I have proof of all this. And the technical problems I've had is just amazing to think that we have electronics in such this way is not acceptable, how I feel. And a lot of people of the other candidates, they would have no clue. Why? Why would they not know? Because they're not a technician. Not you, but there's a lot of people who are tired of the word political and we're just fed up. Um, I have a saying, don't get fed up, get fed in. Now, I'd like to introduce myself once again to these people. My name is Charles Richard Zarelli, and my site is timetojoin.us. And I'm looking to do, of course, more than any presidential candidate is doing. I'm looking to reframe our Constitution. I went to a Times Square meeting, and some guy, Alex, was up at the microphone, and they had a little thing set up, and I had a band playing. And of course, they had about probably 35 officers just scattered around, and probably 15 or 21 cluster. And this gentleman had a serious gripe because he was one of the people, for some reason, whatever had happened, and he was arrested. Very smart, astute young guy, curly hair, black hair. I wasn't ready for him to say or whether I should have interceded. I kind of should have, but they were standing up for what we believe is going wrong. Our young see the design. Our old see how political and things are. So whether it's left or whether it's right or whether it's center, to me, it's upside down. Why is that? Because I made a little package up here, and just to show it to the camera here, this is, and this light is kind of destroying it. Let me see if I can make this clearer. hiding this light. Oh yeah, look at that. Perfect. So this is a thing called IR and RAS, and um, we're going to put this on the website. This is the mental framing, and out of the several licenses, one of them is a certificate for hypnotherapy. Now, I'd like to say I might not look like Brad Pitt, and I might not have his abs. Sorry, Jen. Don't be mad at me, please. But my heart and my mind are, and I am very confident. I have respect for us. And what I've done for the last 2 years is I've backed out of the whole system. Finishing actually in the last abstract of the book I've been writing, and it also includes a Declaration of Independence. And this, I think, is the most important thing, because what is the Declaration of Independence really? Did you know it didn't model into the Constitution? No, it didn't. Let's just take a look at this. Interesting stuff. So here we go right here. See the word united? See the word states? Why is it so big? Anyone understand in the slang word, I want to say this, but I've had very brilliant scholars say this, but the kinesthetic, which is related to the word kinesthesia and arms and the feelings but the kinesthetic value of when the United States was written, that's the rough draft, one of the rough drafts. When we see the final draft, we don't see that in that way. Please, I'm going to leave it up to you. You can Google it. It's a public document. The final draft was made by someone who wasn't even American. Obvious, he knew the kinesthetics. Why is that? Because he understood the word united should not be huge. I disagree. And I'm here to change who we are as Americans. I'm not just doing what JB or DJT is portraying. Honestly, I've broken one promise in my life when I was probably 13 or 14. It didn't. I'm like my grandfather and my father. I'm a person of my word. I'm a handshake person. And I'm not perfect. Is the news and media going to try to find one thing and where I've dealt with something and try to explode it? Yes. Yes. Yes, they will. It doesn't change that I do design. It doesn't change that I've done blueprints. And I don't have any of my blueprints here. I do, actually. I'm not going to get them. But I have blueprints and I've shown them in other videos. I'm a professional designer. Not professional as in directly architect or engineer, but I have had my plans signed off. I designed them. And a professional just put a seal on it. Of course, they had to approve and be approved by New York City Department of Environmental Protection for devices called backflow devices. I also have another plan that I was forefronting, and I'm the one who spearheaded it, for 40,000 square foot building on Staten Island. It's one of the Paramount movie theaters, the old ones, and we're looking to refurbish it. That's a whole other story. And of course, the pandemic happened, and my other partners, they want to knock the building down. And meanwhile, anyway, so here we are. I treat them with respect. I give them things as we go back and forth. I make sure that we have some form of return. We don't really see that from our government and the institutions. So what do I really do? Right now, I want to make this kind of brief. So do we talk about that we have record homeless? Do we talk about a woman who just had her fallopian tubes against her will taken out? Do we talk about women should ever think that they ever need to be concerned whether they can or can't have a baby and someone to tell them what to do? I grew up with 7 women. That should already give you an indication of where I stand. I have respect for people. And I also have respect for our government. Cumbers everything. give you one good example. Do we not pay attention to our senior citizens who are being boxed out? Think about this. No one talks about these things. You do design, it's forefront. It's the first most important thing, I believe, is considering everything, and that's important. We're changing everything to digital. A lot of these people I meet who are seniors, I love seniors. The stories they have and the things they went through, I love you all. You're a senior citizen? I want to give you a kiss and a hug, and a nice hug too. I care. And I see. Let's bring into this conversation the Declaration of Independence, but let's just ask a question. What do we do? Not mention our climate? I don't know if any of you know, we have to be sincere about this. There's a lot of people who don't want to believe it. Why? Because they want to be guided by a faithful authority. I saw on PBS last night about DJT and JB and how they need to trash each other, and how DJT was a forefront to manifest media and how to put people in that place. And he doubled down. Something was going wrong with the pandemic. Yeah, well, guess what? We'll only have 15 and we're looking good. Didn't we do a good job? Excuse me? I didn't hear what you said, because there's hundreds of thousands of people now that have died from this, or at least 190 something. America is the largest place that has been affected. Do we not consider future design? Are we not prepared? Why do hospitals not have storerooms and storerooms? If I am your commander in chief, you can put your life on it. I was a Cub Scout when I was little. I loved what I would be when I was older. But you learn to be prepared. I was the guy, you go camping, I'm the one who brought the 100 feet by 20 wide 4 mil plastic. No one else did. And a spool of tiger twine. What do you think happens that night while camping? Storm like you wouldn't believe. Hey, Charles, I see you're pretty dry because you put up all this plastic, and you did it because as soon as we came here, and about 3 feet above the tent, I hang plastic and I pull to the street, to the trees, and I'm prepared. How come America is not prepared? Do we not pay attention to that we are seeing costs go up? Are we not paying attention to this pandemic, which honestly, when I got to my neighbors by one of the addresses on Van Duzer Street Rentals in Staten Island, New York, there's a neighbor, her name is Jen, and she was a diabetic from birth. I got her to stop insulin. And I put my hand to God to that, to tell you the truth of this. She grew out a diabetic. Let me repeat that. By the way, these things are documented now. We can't just release all the natural things just like that. You have to be reasonable for all pieces. Let's be reasonable here. Do you want to destroy America being number one? Do we want to be, considered a third world or a fourth world country, even though our healthcare system is one of the almost last? This is how we treat our people. Meanwhile, we're making record profit corporation highs. 7 to 9 people, as of 2 years ago, were worth $2.1 to $2.4 trillion on an approximate estimate. That's 52 to 58% of the world's net worth. And that has carried forward. We can see record profit corporation highs. However, before I go any further, we have to appreciate the very people who have so much money and power that they could fight this until the end. And did you hear recently? I heard this on WNYC. It was approximately, it was either 7 or the 9 o'clock show on last Sunday, which was the 20, Wednesday, 22, so the 19th, 20th. Do we now say that this is not true? They have a countdown clock, which now says 7 years and 110 days as of that day, 111, whatever it was, or 12. I'm the first person, I believe, that made a video in 2016 warning us about our climate. My life ever. When I was younger, I didn't want people to film me. Why? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. And then I heard, I don't want to go into that, but I don't know why. So for me to do that, I reinvented myself. Ask my family, ask my friends. When I was younger, I would take your camera and crush it. I pay you for it. I'm an honorable person. I'm sorry, but you don't have a permission to take my picture. It's my picture, and I'm going to destroy it in front of you. So, and my family knew me for this. I've moved past that. What am I here now doing? A Zoom. I want you to see as America, I'm reinventing myself. And we need to do the same. And I can do other things, and I'd love to share that with those who want to have a trustworthy government. So what else do we do? Not pay attention to that, a good degree of our best they can, keeping us number one. We're the most sickest, and we are the most drug place per person per capita on the face of this globe. These are the truths. I want to be facts checked. Let me add that in there, please. I think it's important because my motto is we are beautiful. And so now I could mention so many other things, and you've known. Ha ha ha, and it blocks it out. How cool. Ha 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 ha. And the Black Lives Matter is, oh, it's in black. Why aren't that seen? It says above there, and you can see it. This is the face mask. Black Lives Matter. And because it's green, the screen knocks out the green. So I should have the word Black Lives Matter on my face. Anyway, so you need to support me. Every one of you. Charles Ozzarilli, whether I'm in your ballot or not, the write-in box, Charles Richard Zarilli. And the name, if you go on timetojoin.us, you should have it. Several of my neighbors by the rental told me they couldn't pull my website up. Why is that? She tried several times, and she said it to me correctly, timetojoin.us. So this is one reason why I feel our digital stuff is not protected. Why when we have called billionaire companies and you can't even chat sometimes, and you get electronic, no. When I see toll plazas now and all people are being taken away, by the way, my uncle was he was the person who was responsible in New York City in the tri-state area for the color purple on Easy Pass. That was his idea. TBTA for, I don't know, 30 something years, retired, went through the Marines, got that's why I had to wear something substantial. So the last time I had my United States and relative to the Army Corps, and don't get me started because everyone knows what do we do, not have responsibility for our designs, Army Corps of Engineers with New Orleans. Let's talk about some of the catastrophes. So anyway, I mentioned my neighbor before, and I believe in 90 to 120 days I would have this pandemic done. I'll repeat that. 90 to 120 days, I will have this pandemic either done or everyone across America spiraling down. How do I know that? Does anyone understand what epigenetics is, EPHA genetics? It means our cells change 10,000 times. Like that the hospitals and the medical industry really don't have the time and really aren't being shown these things. Think about this 2 to 3 to 4.3 trillion dollars that we're making in medical expenses net altogether, gross rather. So we can see a huge numbers that are coming from us being sick. Imagine you're making that much money. What do you think happens? Because through what we understand, the Mayans and the Aztec people, they knew when someone said this to me, I was like, boop. 2 walls went up with showed me the perimeters that span from one to the other and everything. When you do design, this happens. You don't try. It's just I'm a thinker. I love thinking. And I want to make sure that we're all safe. But they mentioned 140 personality realities. Think about how many people you meet. And then at a certain time, you'll meet other people like you or similar. And then at a certain point, people start to overlap to a certain degree. So it's known to a certain way we think. Imagine people in the police department are hired by their psych test and how it is in such a degree that would be, and you're going to use that as a device to use certain thinking people. Imagine people were homeless. Were they destined to go homeless? Did we not support them? Think of people who work for public service. I'm doing public service for 40 years. I'm a professional troubleshooter. I'm going to say 97.77% trying to though, and I make the sign of the cross. I don't really remember ever once where I have been defeated. So I'll say 97.77. Let's throw the sevens in there. I love the sevens. So I believe that all what I have accomplished, being in front of equipment I've never seen, designing buildings I've never done before, having them certified, having blueprints made physically, every little detail myself, so we don't see the design. So my point was to say this whole thing, and leading to the Declaration of Independence. Identification break. Charles Richard Zerilli here, 7:24 p.m. Right now it is 7/23/2020, and I know we're moments away from this November polls. Honestly, I think it should be postponed. Yes, it would be my advantage, but how many people for 27 states of voter suppression are being knocked out of their vote? Other countries, and no one's doing anything directly about this. That will not happen. That cannot happen. But yet, who's saying anything about this? Where is the respect? Where is our honor? Where is our decency for our democracy? For those who want voter suppression, you only say the words and you tell us things we want to hear. I'm one of you, by the way. Able to find what are the people on this side want, what do the people on this side want, what's good for them, and then we come together and we make a circle and we create a new steeple of hope and future. And that's what I want to do. My name is Charles Richard Zerilli, running for the President of the United States. I'd like to add some wise, strong heart to our government. It needs to be done. And everyone knows as pieces, how come we don't gauge suffering? If we did, it'd be tangible. And I believe the Declaration of Independence mentions these things. So when I see and hear things about democracy and we're being told some certain things that really aren't true, it's not I found that that wasn't true. And I started to research him further. And he did certain things to imply certain things towards businesses. I'm not going to go into detail, but what's been said about him is not what I've come to find out in a history book shown. Why did someone say that if that's not true? So you notice I didn't say who said it. So I'm not going to say a name. And I'm not looking to trash anyone because everyone's used to that. When do we have our intelligence? Are you looking to advance as a civilization and to rise up? Are you looking to do this and bring everything from one direction and have us go to the next and have it be a new unification? Not that we're trying to unify everyone into a pay taxes. That's not a control. We're the #1 country on the face of this globe. If you don't like that, anyone who doesn't want to be #1, then you need to vote it that way or go for one of these guys, because I feel although being #1, where is the solidarity to treat us with gauging sufferings and understanding what could be done in the medical industry and some of the natural cures that can be released? I've not gotten a cold in 17 years. Why? Because I did a lot of studying and I listened to a lot of people who documenting these things, by the way. But when you say things in front of me as a professional troubleshooter, I really kind of listen. I need to bow down and no problem. Sorry, what did you say? I didn't, wow, really? Is that true? And then the person loves it, because anyone talking someone else's language, you go into the next conversation before you know it, boom. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I challenged one of my neighbors, and she came knocking on my door. Charlie, I want to thank you. I'm like, for what? I didn't do anything. She goes, it's been a week since I stopped insulin. I'm like, congratulations. I was like, fantastic. So this is where I believe advancing our civilization is having faith, taking the people who have oil and the medical industries, considering these people. Why can't it be that they have facilities, they have the manufacturing plants, they have all of the resources, they have payrolls, they have, property. Benjamin Franklin did this, and he brought us together. If we fight these people, even over our climate, they're so stuck. Let's talk about the 140 personality realities. They're stuck making money. Why do I think they're stuck? Let's revert to the Declaration of Independence, because I'd like to do that. This goes beyond religion, by the way. And religion, I think, is for some people. How many people I know aren't religious and they don't want to hear about it? I don't believe that makes any difference, because I believe God, to me, God is every planet, every prophet, the center of us, our chi, our yin and our yang, several different things of our universe, the sun, the moon, earth, forgive me if I repeated, but there are several things. Every planet that's included, I believe. Anything that's a vibrant something, and we can see without it made oxygen by itself, and it's cycled by itself. It's cycled. That word spans 460,000 years old before every Bible was written, and it didn't mention the word death. It did not. It mentioned the word cycle. It showed a double helix DNA, and a 10-year-old child, one of these people who knew about this 460,000 years ago, that's correct, a 10-year-old child, human, of course, and his sister behind mentioning that they're responsible for adjusting our DNA. How could it be that this is existent and carbon dated, by the way? It shows us there's science but not being shown. When Dr. Ben went around the world, and when you see Cleopatra in Egypt, and Cleopatra is a white woman, that's not true. Why is it 10,000 years before Columbus was here that we had Ethiopians decorating capes? How come we don't give credit to those? And why are we afraid to do that? We need a leader who's not afraid to give credit, who has earned those things. Am I right or am I right? You got to give credit. You do something right. You want to be praised for it? Absolutely. We all do better. There's a ratio from the 140 personality realities. You say one thing bad, it takes 7 things to make up for that. So guys, there's a key right now. You screw up with one of your women. I'm sorry, shouldn't have busted you like that. If you screw up with a woman, or somebody says something wrong to your friend, it takes several things to make up for it, to make it right. So this is what we see that Dr. Ben had shown, and I believe bringing the people up who have done a lot of intelligence, a lot of beautiful things. Do we deny those things? Do we deny that Black people are brilliant? They were mastering soil before Columbus came here. I'm Italian. Most of me is Italian. And what do I do with the name Zerelli? It's a nice Jewish name, right? Some people say, oh, you're Jewish. It's obviously not. I love to be funny. You got to have a sense of humor, too. People love it. A lot of people laugh at it. Ha, you're Jewish. Okay, got it. Name's Zerelli. Yeah, okay. But look at what we have with what we have not intelligence, and through what Columbus was here and discovered. He discovered it and documented it. I can't take that aspect away from what happened. I won't. But we need to give credit to other people too. There's the design of the balance. Let's acknowledge what it is and raise it up. Let's raise it up. Let's raise it up. That's us. So there's much more than Black Lives Matter. And this bothers me. This is not showing it correctly. So I want this to be seen correctly. There we go. Black Lives Matter. I like to prove If I say something, I'd like to prove it. There's going to be a lot of things you can't prove. Now let's talk about the Declaration because it's now 7:33. So why do I say that these people are stuck? You think I'm going to forget about that? No, because and predicting people, and I know if you have something and you get too used to it, you kind of have that. And I've already thought of making provisions for me not to ever go too far when I'm your commander in chief with respect. I have love for us. What do? Get so bound up into money and I make it part of evil? How do we know what evil is? What's evil? It's not religion. It's not religious. Evil is not just what we think is Lucifer. Think about this. The Bible mentions Lucifer was cast into the earth, right? In the first 7 days, wherever it was, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, wherever it was. Different scriptures say different things. That's okay. When the earth was here, were there people? No. Let's chew on that just for a second. I hope you're hungry. Because there's science that applies. God made us science. Every one of you can hear me, you pee nitric acid. I gotta be straight up. Should I be more professionally correct? You urinate nitric acid. Forgive me if those are going to be offended. Stop being so politically sensitive. This is where we're going. And what are we doing in New York City? This bothers me. This could be good because this could help advance in a way, but was that the intention? Men and women's bathrooms are having the name men and women be taken off of it. People are having certain designations to be called. Where is our tolerance to make mistakes? We think life is so perfect and every one of you is so stuck with our devices here, and we think that that's what life is. Meanwhile, we're watching human jobs be taken away, and we're not seeing accurate stats. I'm proof of that myself. I'm not going to go into it. But the Declaration, let's get back to that, ends up mentioning, quote unquote, while mankind is more disposed to suffer, evils are sufferable, and to right and abolish the ways in which they're accustomed. Now, I might have made a mistake or two on one of those words, but the essence of that is exactly what that is. And you can't really make too much of a mistake because it's pretty much that. The kinesthetics says we're predominantly, as a human race, we suffer. No, you know that? I wrote a book on this. Every 3 and 5 words, give or take, I took the kinesthetic value. How? I'm not going to tell you right now. And yes, you have to get my book. And for those who can't do it, it's not just about that you're going to make a donation to me and I need your votes. This is why I'm here. I need your votes. I need you to contact me. Yes, here's my name, my zip code. Give me an email or phone number. You have my vote. I need this. I want to get on the national ballot. You want to see a debate? Here's what no one else is showing us. I love this. What is this? This is a church. I don't mean the church part of it. I mean this thing right here. That thing right there. Guess what? Right now, I'm not going to tell you what it is. We are not feeding it. We have things that are making our cognizant function decrease. That's a fact. Sue me if I'm wrong. I want to be sued if I'm wrong. I love us. What I'm saying is fact. So what do? Negate. And then we negate our own civilization into a human race looking to be able to evolve or consciously do what we could to advance who we are. We are the richest nation on the face of the planet. We're not that smart. I'm sorry. You take an offense, good. Deal with it. I see a lot of my friends. I've trained hundreds of people. And why sometimes when I go to train some people and they just don't have, some of them have drug habits, we're just so running away from each other. No. Who is mentioning the essence of the pieces and bringing it together? Let's lock it in. Let's talk about what it is. and let's throw them flowers. Some people, you won't agree with this, but hear me, please. Please, please, please be patient. Please don't jump down my throat right away and knock me out. Although, any service people, 22 suicides a day. It's okay with you? JB was a vice president. I don't see anything really being done for black people, and I don't see any, or brown people. I don't, Afro American, let's be respectful. I don't look at people as a color. What do you have in your heart and your mind and your science? That to me is what a government, an American government, should represent, being the most strongest in the world, 2.5 times almost of armed forces. I like to say this Zarrilli now, because when I found someone lies so much, I can no longer use his name. But we Zarrilli the earth. Almost 2.5 times the armed forces. So when I see things that no one is bringing forwards, and when I see things that no one did anything for Afro-Americans, no one did anything in such a way to protect our climate. Like, I'm the first person, I believe, I made a video in 2016 saying we had a national, international emergency, making a public debriefing. Nobody has done that. So what do we do? I mean, I'm not a perfect person. I don't look like Brad Pitt. I'm not going to apologize. I'm a human being. I'm beautiful. You're beautiful. Every one of you are beautiful. At the same token, we have to appreciate the people who are rich, and they're beautiful too. They've made America #1. But they're stuck. Why are they stuck? Mankind is more disposed to suffer, while evil is insufferable, than to right and abolish the ways in which they're accustomed. That inculcates that someone is so stuck they won't acknowledge what they're involved in. Maybe they just need to be enticed to change things, to see the intelligence, to let us advance in a way, and they have no choice to work with us. And if they don't, you want to see them lose their companies? Put me in. I want your vote. I need your support. You think DJT was looking out for all of us, who you think that he's only representing what you want to hear because he could work the news and the media, but no disrespect, but the guy, look at his executive orders. They don't match what he says. He says one thing and his executive orders are the other things. He increased more money, and what did he do? Smart enough to buy you for $1,000 or $600? And meanwhile, what's going to happen after this? Meanwhile, we're the richest country in the face of this globe. Quote, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That's all of you, all of us, we get together, and we are what it takes. And the government should accept that. I believe there's a series of grand orders within that declaration, and I believe there are some orders that are not part of complete. And there are some people, it looks like, who may think that white is to what it needs to be, but guess what? If you really understand where that came from, it's considered a bright light, and a bright light could be considered white. Go back to the ancient scroll technology. And what do you think it said? Even in scriptures, I was told this going to church for 30 years plus, almost never missed a weekend, helped the church out, played an instrument in there. And I was told, you know what happens when you pass away? You should go to the light. If you believe in God in any way, shape, or form, you go to the light. So not solid state, old fashioned, old school, and I'll draw it and I'll design it and I'll make the PC board and put it back together for you. Who do we have that has science and business? Nobody knows understanding. And what do we do? Not pay attention to Fukushima meltdown that's now putting nuclear wastewater on California shores. Do you have any of these people saying these things on hold? No. Why? Because you can't handle it? Should I be like Al Pacino? You can't handle the truth. Well, can you? Can you? Not Kenya, like the nation or country, rather. That'd be a little funny too. But I'm not referring whether they can or can't. There's no incantations here. My words are straight up. I want that to be clear. No incantations. Go to here, contact me, and I'll be glad to do a Zoom on it. If you're not sure about something, I will straighten out what you're not sure of. I'm very respectful. I see by design we can keep the rich happy, and they work with us, not to fight us. How many of these people don't want to really transgress their businesses? They're afraid they're going to lose. I don't want them to lose. We need them so they don't fight us in court. How many lobbyists have they done and put all these lobbyists, all these chemicals that toxify and all cancerous and all the rest of this, and then you'll see all these class action suits on the TV, and then join now, and otherwise you're going to lose your rights. Why was this chemical approved to begin with? There are so many things that we have. So the Declaration of Independence is what I want to do, is model the Constitution from it, from birth to death, whether it's an IK cycle, whether it is a person, business, or government. We can see this is a formation, and it brings us through into a unity. Why do you think it says in the course of human events? Why does the Constitution say we the people? Who's we? Is it only us? Do you think we don't need other nations' help to do this globally? America's only 5% of the world's mass. Take $1 and put it in nickels. We're only 1 nickel of size of land. We use 30% of the world's resources. Think about how cush we are. You want to advance our civilization or not? We have to let's put things where these people might have gotten so used to money. It's not right that so few people make so much money. We have assessed the American public. This is a fact. And 40 years ago, we never had a deficit, 44, 43, whatever it was. And one of the presidents had changed some of the financial laws and the tax laws, and we were paying 92 cents on every dollar. That's a fact. And now those corporations are paying less than you and I. And although I'm a millionaire on paper, not in my pocket. Water more than quadrupled, taxes. Who is really saying, and you can't say I'm not political, you need to tune into me, because the things I forefronted is much more than most of you would ever have the gumption to fortress, to challenge. So the Declaration of Independence is something that in other, by the way, in other videos I've made, the one I'd recommend is please go to the site and check out the 8-minute and 27-second video, and you'll see me and I eat dirt. You're going to appreciate it. I said, how can I prove that I love us all? And I'm not going to tell you how it happens and what leads up to it and where I get the dirt from. I'm not going to tell you that. You got to go check the video out. 8 minutes and 27 seconds. But it's not right that we change our Constitution. It does not match 7.9 billion people and only growing on the globe. That America has a liability. The 7 to 9 people who work 2.1 to 2.4 trillion, give or take. You want to argue with that a couple? It's where it's at. You're not going to diminish that we own the globally economy daily by majority. So 52 to 58%, we hold the liability for our earth. It's okay, but we have to face these things. We want to advance, we have to bring it forwards. We have to come given up. And I'm looking to increase our intelligence because I'm showing you part of our anatomy. No one's, why is this on a church from the 1700s? And now I see construction in front of that church. Is someone trying to take down what it is that shows that a church knew we had a degree in our bodies that was of intelligence? I'm coming. What does that mean? I'll figure it out when I get there. I'm excellent at that. So, in respect to us, the Declaration of Independence says very simply, first sentence, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of our earth. Now, I will not hurt national security, so there are going to be some things you're not going to like of me, but you'll know about it. need to know. Because why? Because governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So there are other things, and it's up to you. I'm going to say this straight up. I need to say this if you don't mind, because presidential candidates, some of them want to insult people, but those people who like DJT, this is for you. Where's your balls? You got to face what it is. White is only a color, but the and that's when emulation changes, is why it's a color. Guess what? If it was meant to be that we go to the light and it's about being to an emulation, it only could have been described as primal people as white. But what color does it emulate to in its true definition? So now we can see that there is a different degree. Cool. I love science. Since I've been 7, I've been learning sciences, and I still have, when I was probably 10, I got a science kit. I still have it. I would fix things going from 7. I never stopped. If they broke, I'd put it away. And when I knew a year later I would get smarter, and I figured your time over the worth of what the item is. But the Declaration of Independence is so key, everyone. We need to change our Constitution to match the Declaration. We don't need gasoline. We need to include these people. We need to acknowledge what it is to suffer. We need to take the people who thought it was just about white and understand, what did that really mean to be white? Guess what? Were white people relative when civilizations first started to happen? Guess what? Most likely not. So you're saying that you're what? Not part of what it is of a human race? I think you're insulting yourselves in a way. We need a good lead. So this is what I say. Get your balls up. Understand what it is for us to come forwards and to understand some of the true science. And the key that formed America, and the documentation of the Declaration of Independence, I believe, is the most powerful document on the face of the globe. In my book, I wrote about this. And I believe it came from a series of intelligence of scrolls. And George Washington, of course, being in war, think about this. He ran across final ones that advanced past what we know of suffering, because the Declaration also mentioned suffering twice. And I didn't tell you what it was. I'm not going to tell you. I have some surprises. And I'm not going to do that unless you follow me, unless you come and let me know, hey, I'm going to vote. You got my thought. I see you talking about some intelligent things. I could see, you're saying you haven't lied and you haven't broken a promise. My hand to God. I've never call Call Aspect. What's his name? Call Aspect. Call Prebrams. Alan Aspect. There you go. They understood, and Wilder Penfield, we understood that our DNA has an ability to have a non-locale memory. These are quantum scientists. Yes, I'm into quantum science. I'm into all forms of science. Talk about science and you have my attention. I want to hear it, because are you telling me the truth? Is it something that's going to fit? If I don't know, I put it in the back of my brain in the mental mailbox, and I know when I hear the right things, if it comes forward, it'll be making sense. Anyway, I'm Xing you that, please. Please take my thoughts, put it in the back of your mental mailbox. In the meanwhile, we need to take democracy and bring it back where it belongs. And the Declaration of Independence Party, through design, open design, is key. Why? Because it's time to stop the political bands which have connected them with another. To be non-political is the most American thing you can do. You got balls? You think white's the color? You got to stop being political. Stop fighting each other. Gosh damn it. Foods. You ever hear the word brain food? Guess what? I have. And I'm the one who made it up when I started to learn about epigenetics and how we have all these things. And when I started to understand the mental framing of an IR and an RAS, that's internal representation and reticular activating system. Any sociologists, psychologists, therapists, you understand what I'm talking about. These are the mental framings we can condition. People can be hypnotized awake or asleep. We stand for. I try not to pull those punches. I try to be straight up. I try to have respect. I try to let you understand what I stand for is a national makeover. Let's say the truth. Let's bring us forward. What do? Have TV work for Arbitron ratings, and we get not intelligent, and we lose intelligence. We lose intelligence, and I believe it makes sense to me. And those who don't want to think about and whether it was Republican or Democrat, just stand back, zoom out, Google Zoom, boom, and what do we see? 600% increase in the few people and the rich, and only a decrease in what the value of American people represent. Look at the schools. Look at how we're fighting about what it is. We don't have preparations. Look at this mayor in New York City. I don't want to go there. $14 billion that are being, only $7 billion is being. I am more qualified to deal with these contractors than any political person that you could put in front of this TV screen, monitor, on the radio, news, you name it. I'm science and I'm business, and I love us. And I'm pretty much going to end it at this point. The Declaration of Independence is key. And the very last sentence would have us look out for senior citizens, have us look out for the care they have. How horrible. You can hear some of the reports. You allowing that? You want to stick up for white? Let's stick up for these senior citizens. You want to feel worthy? What are you doing? You're sticking up for white. You go beat someone up. That's going to make white better. You're looking like you're not that smart. You're being arrogant. You know what they say? If you can't really explain something, you get arrogant. Sometimes people have to get arrogant to make sure that what you're trying to explain gets crushed. So there's a difference between saying, America, America, America. Let's get smarter. Let's get smarter. Let's get smarter. I'm getting loud, but that's beautiful. I hope you agree we're looking to advance. I hope you agree that the people who are claiming something about something of white, it's not cool to be political. And if, what I see also is several different things that, when I see a sentence in the Declaration no one is mentioning, and would you consider, question first, all the things I mentioned, homeless, our climate, senior citizens, fallopian tubes, Black Lives Matters, that we don't see racial equality. And I don't want to politicize something because it's a part of Black Lives Matter that's been made political, not looking at them as human beings and making it solidarity where brown, every other color, and we have not done that. Meanwhile, the gentleman who's running in the president right now, I don't want to say his name, and I say it in a weird way like that. He's really kind of not going with at least 60% of the 27 infractions that are in the back of the Declaration of Independence that are part of it. And why is it a problem? It's the most American thing. It formed America. You're American. What do you think we celebrate the 4th of July? Do you think we're celebrating it because it's literally for the date? No, it's for the Declaration of Independence. Am I right or am I right? So it's why we celebrate that. So the Declaration in the last sentence says, and for the support of this declaration with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. How heavy that is, man. How heavy that is. Are any of us sharing this beautifulness? Is any one of these people who are so pro-political that they're doing an excellent job in what they're doing, but they're keeping us stuck in place? The rich are getting richer. The people are having things taken away. And now, not only is there a racial inequality, we're treating the earth the same exact way. And what? We're arguing about this? You need to put me in. I need your vote. Please, I need all of your support. Anyone, please come work on my team. I need volunteers. You want to feel beautiful and great and powerful in life? Be part of my team. You're going to come in and you're going to see things and you're going to all of a sudden realize, boom, oh my gosh, this is the change we're making. To change the Constitution to match the Declaration of Independence would make any thought of climate change illegal. It would make racial equality standard. It would cause a unification to a respect, not because of the control of money, where these people, I believe in a certain degree, they've encumbered the word evil. Why do you think the Declaration mentions that? You know, so I believe when you hear a statement that says, when I ask, are these things considered some form of abuse to the earth, to people, to our seniors? Yes. Yes, it is. Not if not. And every one of these things have a degree of suffering, right? 110%, 111%. So there's one of the last statements I'm going to say of the Declaration, and I'm going to ask you a question. Declaration, but when a long, quote unquote, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such governments and provide new gods for their future security. End quote for that. Freeze frame. Please, 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 please do not go and cause harm or hurt. This is not what it's about. Your vote is your power. Your vote needs to go to Charles Richard Zarelli, because to throw the government off, put me in. I've had emails deleted, texts sent to me in wrong ways. I've had other things happen to workers and their phones. I've had my house broken into. I called the FBI a couple of times for these damages. So when a long train of abuse and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object, what's that object? The control of money. Hello, we're the richest in the world. We have it, and we're proving it. The proof of that alone proves that we're smart with money. We are brilliant. We have to give these people credit while we change the system. It's a balance. The Declaration says it. And aside from that, if people at the top are following wrong grand orders, thinking it's about being white, and it's not white, it's actually the emulation. And the emulation has to do with having heart as part of our points. I'm not going to break that down past that. You're following it wrong. So there's a respect of that science. So now the question I said I was going to ask before we end, because right now it's exactly 8 p.m. I started a couple minutes after. I try to do about an hour. I know I cover a lot of different things, but America is... What's divine providence? So once again, the last sentence. So, and for the support of this declaration with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. A firm reliance on the protection of divine providence. What's divine providence? I'll tell you that right now. It's when our spirits escalate. They knew it. The 140 personality realities and how we escalate, and how 460,000 years ago did not say that we die, but we cycle. It's a very different feeling of treating each other, making business, supporting our government to have resources to help us in times of pandemic. Not that we're so etched and we're like an etch-a-sketch. It's already done, but we need to erase it. You know, you can do that in etch-a-sketch. You can erase, start new. Reframing the Constitution will now make, from the Declaration of Independence, a new solidarity, bringing an equality, solving 60 to probably at least approximately in that area of 85% of every problem you could think of. Put money on it if I'm your commander-in-chief. I promise the Constitution will change relating to the Declaration of Independence. I don't promise anything. You just heard a promise from me, because it has to be done. And I'm not doing this politically, although I'm stepping into the political arena. And I have done some political things. And I don't want to say they're political. I won't, because I'm human. And the course of human events, if necessary for one people to dissolve a political bench. And that's exactly what I did. So the word pro-political, I have to put aside. I'm a human being by design with science. And we're going to do this the right way, because how we escalate to take care of with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence. We have to watch out for people and they die. We're not even doing that. You got balls, you want to say you're white, put your money where your mouth is into the Declaration of Independence, please. We need to do that. Otherwise, are you really being American? I question this. If the Declaration is the definition of what it is to be American, and so what? The Constitution came after it. Guess what? It waited 13 years. Why? Why do those people who wrote it have slaves? And is that okay just to enslave people? Guess what? A government always slaves all of us. Think about it in a common sense way. I don't mean that in no incantation. They make the rules and make you pay your taxes. You have to pay things before you die. Hey, come on, be reasonable here. Governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. A government ran right would be appreciated. It would take us into a unification and a divine providence we could look forward to as not just the strongest people on the face of the earth, but now the smartest. And I see this done already. My name is Charles Richard Zarelli, at your service. Be strong, be confident, and be positive, and see it done already. Because myself and my team, we do. Thank you very much. Please check out my site. Contact me for whatever reasons. Someone can get back to you. Don't expect a response right away. Everyone's valued, and I see design that everything exists. We are beautiful. Once again, Charles Richard Zarelli, thank you. Have a wonderful evening.